Good afternoon. In today's class, we will see the last of the protocols for noisy channels, and in general, in the protocols topic, we will be seeing the last protocol, which is selective repeat ARQ. So till now, we have seen for the noisiest channels, the ideal protocols, the simplest and stop and wait protocol, and after that, we have seen stop and wait ARQ, go back and ARQ, and today we will be seeing selective repeat ARQ. Before starting the protocol, I'd like to remind you that these two protocols, the go back and ARQ and selective repeat ARQ, are based on the concept of sliding window protocol. We have seen how we are supposed to take a window of the frames that is to be sent on the sender side and on the receiver side, and how the window slides while it is sending one frame at a time. So now both of these, we have already seen that go back and ARQ, how it is based on the sliding window protocol. Today we will be seeing the selective repeat ARQ protocol. So let's begin that. In selective repeat ARQ, only the, so basically we have to go back to the go back ARQ, go back and ARQ. If you remember, if a frame is lost, damaged, or corrupted, in that case, we have to send the entire window again. That is, how many ever frames exist in the window. So if the window size is 4, then if you remember, we sent all the 4 frames when a frame was either lost, corrupted, or damaged. But in the case of selective repeat ARQ, only the erroneous or lost frames are retransmitted. Suppose the frame number 2 is lost, then only this frame is retransmitted. Okay, all the other frames are not retransmitted, and even if the frames are out of order, in the case of selective repeat ARQ, the receiver will accept the frames and make sure that it arranges them in an order. The receiver, what it does is it keeps track of sequence number and buffers the frames in memory. So it will keep a track. So suppose if you're sending the frame number 0, 1, 2. Now 2 is lost. Now what it will do is it will send a negative acknowledgement. So negative acknowledgement will be written by this NACK. Acknowledgement we usually write just by ACK. Negative acknowledgement is written by NACK, and that is the receiver will send a negative acknowledgement for the frame which is either missing or which has been corrupted during the transmission. So receiver will make sure that the frames that have been missing or damaged are sent a negative acknowledgement. Now, what the sender will do? The sender will just transmit or retransmit. Actually, the sender will retransmit the frames which have been lost or damaged while they were being communicated or while they are being transmitted. So for whichever frames the sender receives a negative acknowledgement, it will simply retransmit the frame again. Okay, so this is the concept of selective repeat SRARQ, or we can just short form it as SRARQ. Okay, so go back and ARQ simplifies the process at receiver side. So in the previous class, we have seen that at the receiver side, go back and have simplified the process. That is, only the receiver side has to keep track of the next frame it is supposed to receive. The receiver keeps track of only one variable, and there is no need to buffer out of order frames. They are simply discarded. So in the go back, and now I am talking about the protocol that we have already studied, which is go back and protocol. So in this case, suppose if the receiver receives out of order frames, so suppose after 0, 1, 2 is lost, and then the sender is sending 3 and 4, then what in the case of go back and it will discard these frames also. But in the case of SR, that is selective repeat ARQ, 3, 4 are accepted, and the receiver in the case of selective repeat will ask for 2. So it will send a negative acknowledgement. So this is sent, that is a negative acknowledgement is sent that I have lost 2. Please send me the frame 2. So the sender will send frame 2 and it will then arrange 3 and 4 in order also. So selective repeat ARQ basically does not discard the frames which are out of order. So however, why are we using this selective repeat ARQ? Suppose if the bandwidth the resending, that is if we are sending multiple frames again and again, so the resending uses up bandwidth and slows down the transmission. So suppose if you have 10 frames and in the first 4 frames only, every time one of the frames is being lost, so the sender will be sending the first 4 frames multiple times, so that will take up a lot of bandwidth and also the transmission will be very slow. So for that reason we are using the selective repeat ARQ. So in the case of noisy links, there is another mechanism that does not resend n frames. So in the name go back in ARQ, we have this variable n. This n represents the resending of n frames every time. So here in the case of selective repeat, we are selectively retransmitting, or we can just say that we are selectively repeating the frame whichever is getting a negative acknowledgement. So that is why the name stands selective repeat and why we have n over here. In the case of go back n, we are sending n frames again and again until all of the frames reach the destination or the receiver side safely. But in the case of selective repeat, what we are doing, if suppose one of the frames is lost in the entire window, we are sending only that one frame. We are not repeating the frames again and again. So that is why this mechanism is called selective repeat ARQ, and it is more efficient for noisy links, but the processing at the receiver side is more complex. So obviously the receiver has to rearrange the frames, so that is why the processing at the receiver side is more complex, but compared to go back n, it is more efficient. Now we will see what selective repeat ARQ, what are the windows and how it works. So first and foremost, in the case of selective repeat ARQ, the size of the sender and receiver window must be at most 1/2 of 2 power m. So suppose if we have m frames, then in the case of the selective repeat ARQ, the window size should be at most 1/2 of 2 power m. So it should be greater than, it should be lesser than or equal to 2 power m's half. Okay. So now first and foremost, the difference between these protocols is over here. So in the case of go back and ARQ, the size of the window is 2 power m minus 1. Okay, but here in this case we have to be at most half of 2 power m, 1/2 of 2 power m basically. So let's see the windows over here. So the thin window maximum size can be 2 power m minus 1. So for example, if m is equal to 4, so if m is equal to 4, that is the number of frames is 15, then the sequence or the sequence numbers go from 2 power 4 minus 1, right? Not this one, 2 power 4, 2 power, sorry, let me just clear it out. So if m is equal to 4, then the sequence numbers are 2 power m, 0 to 15. And what should be the size of the window? The size of the window should be 2 power m minus 1. It can be 8 or even less than 8. So for example, the size of the window is just 8. So 0 to 15 means 16 frames, right? So we will have here the size of the window 8. But while in the go back n protocol, it is 15. Okay. So the smaller window size means what? It means less efficiency in filling the pipe, but there are few duplicate frames that we need to set. So the protocol uses the same variables that we have seen earlier in the go back n protocol. SF is the window send window first frame, outstanding frame, and these are the frames which are sent but not acknowledged. And SN is the next frame to be sent, and these are the frames that can be sent. Okay, so here we are sending, and this gray thing is the entire window. And what is the size of the window? 2 power m minus 1. And these are the frames that cannot be sent until we get the acknowledgement for the next frames. Now, what is the next thing? This is the receiver window side. Now, what happens on the receiver window side is the receiver window is totally different in selective repeat from the one that we have seen in go back n. So the size of the receiver window here is, in the case of go back n, the size of receiver window is only 1. But in the case of selective repeat ARQ, the size of the receiver window and the size of the sender window. So receiver window is equal to the send window. basically both of them are both of them are exactly same. And the selective repeat protocol allows as many frames as the size of the receive window to arrive out of order and be kept until there is a set of in order frames to be delivered. So suppose first 4, 7 and 9 have been received. So 4, 7 and 9 have been received while 3, 5, 6, 8 and 10 have not been received. Now what will happen is it will keep the window as it is until it receives all these windows 3, 5, 6, 8 and 10, and then it will keep it in this order and move forward. So frames that can be received and stored for later delivery, and the colored boxes are already received windows. These are the frames that are already received and frames that can not be received. The size is 2 power m minus 1, and this is the variable that we have already seen in go back n, which is the receive window next frame to be expected. Now, what happens is the receiver, whenever to mention that receiver never delivers packets out of order. Now, whenever we are talking about the receiver on the receiver window, it will never deliver the packets to the network layer out of order. So here in this, it will show this shows that the receiver window in this protocol, the slots inside the window that are colored defines that are colored defines the frames that have arrived out of order and they're waiting for their neighbors. So once all the frames in a particular window have been received, then they will be arranged in an order and then they will be given to the network layer. So now we will see the design of this selective repeat ARQ. So on the sender side, it is similar. That is, we have the first outstanding frame, and then we have the next frame to be sent, denoted by the two variables that we have already seen earlier. So first outstanding frame is basically the first frame for which we have to receive an acknowledgement, and SN is whichever frame we have to send next. So the sender, the network layer as usual will get the data, pass it to the data link. The data link layer will frame it and add the sequence number and send the frame. So once the frame is sent, on the receiver side, it will receive the frame. The data link layer will have to wait. So in this case, the data link layer will have to wait and arrange it in order if suppose the frames are not received in order. So suppose if this is the window that we have, and in this window, first I am receiving the frame instead of 0, I am receiving the frame 1, then I did not receive 2, then I'm receiving 3, and the window size is suppose 4. So this is ending over here. So what will happen is data link layer will wait for the frame 0 and 2, and then only it will pass it to the network layer. Now after that, what will happen over here? What are the events? The events is the two events which are similar to the earlier protocols that we have sent: request from the network layer and notification from the physical layer on the sender side. And obviously there will be a timer in this case also. And over here in the receiver side, we will have a notification from the physical layer that a frame has been received. Whenever a frame has been received, as soon as the frame has been received, it will send the acknowledgement. Now here there will be two types of acknowledgement. One will be the acknowledgement that the frame has been received, and the other will be a negative acknowledgement that no, I have not received the frame. So either it can be an acknowledgement or a negative acknowledgement. And the same variable are similar to the go backend protocol RN, which is which frame to be received next. Now after that, we will be seeing an example. Now we have to understand why the size of the frame is 2 power n and 2 power m minus 1, why it should be equal to 2 power m minus 1, why the window size cannot be greater than 2 power m minus 1. So for that, let's see this side. So here the window size is equal to 2 power m minus 1. Now what is the value of m? So the value of m in this case is 2. So m is equal to 2. Now m is equal to 2 means there are total how many frames? 2 square. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 frames in a window. Sorry, 4 frames to be sent. And I'm sorry, there are basically 4 sequence numbers, not 4 frames to be sent. There are 4 sequence numbers. And in this case, what I am doing is I am taking the window size as 2 power m minus 1. So 2 power 2 minus 1, which will be equal to 2 power 1, and it is 2. So here the window size is 2, 0 and 1. So this gray, this one over here denotes the window. So this SF is the first outstanding frame which is sent and which needs to receive an acknowledgement. And this is the next frame to be sent, SN. RN is the frame which has to be received. The first frame 0 is being sent, and the acknowledgement, this pink arrow is the acknowledgement lost. Again, frame 1 is being sent, and even then the acknowledgement is lost. So it has received the frame 0 and even it has received the frame 1, but acknowledgement has been lost for both the frames. Now what will happen? It Because the sender did not receive the acknowledgement, it will think that okay, the frames might not have been received by the receiver, so it will again send frame 0. Once it again sends frame 0, so similarly we have a timer over here, you know how the timer works. So once a frame 0 is sent, it is discarded. And because why is it discarded? Because the receiver knows that it has to receive frame 2 and frame 3. So it is correctly discarded. Now what happens on this side? Here we are considering, yeah, one second. Here we are considering the window size to be greater than 2 power m minus 1. So in this case, the same thing, we have the window size as 3. Okay, although the sequence numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, that is we can have 4 sequence numbers, but the window size is 3. So here first it will send frame 0, frame 1 and frame 2. For all the 3 frames, the acknowledgement is lost. Now what will happen? Once again, since the sender did not receive an acknowledgement and the timer times out, it will send frame 0. Now the receiver on this side will think it is the next, basically the receiver is thinking it is the first frame of the next cycle. So it is thinking that this is the 0 frame that the sender has sent. So it will accept this. So 0, 1, 2. And what it will do after receiving 2, it will accept this 0 also. Okay. So for that reason, although the sender has sent the first 0, the receiver is thinking that it is this 0 and it is accepting. Why did it accept? Because in the selective repeat ARQ, we can even accept frames out of order, right? So hence it has accepted this 0 and it will wait for the frame number 3. But obviously this is the sender has sent this 0, so there is an error in this mechanism. So always that is the reason window size should be equal to 2 power m minus 1. So this is the reason that we have studied that statement. Now, so in the we will be seeing the algorithms. So algorithms are similar. There is only one thing that I would like to say is the handling of the request event is similar to that of the go back N protocol, except that for each frame we start a timer, and the arrival event is actually more complicated here. Why? Because we have two kinds of acknowledgement. One is the acknowledgement, the other is the negative acknowledgement. If a valid negative acknowledgement frame arrives, what we do, we just resend the frame by a corresponding, by checking whether whichever negative acknowledgement has been received. Now what happens is, if a valid acknowledgement arrives, the loop it does is it deletes or discards all the frames and stops the corresponding timer. So you can check the algorithm by yourself. As I have explained the previous algorithms for actually stop and wait. After that, for go back N and selective repeat, you can check the algorithms by yourself. So we will have an algorithm on the sender side and we will also have an algorithm on the receiver side. So now we will have to see the delivery of the data. So for the delivery of the data in the case of selective repeat ARQ, in order not to overwhelm the other side with negative acknowledgements, what we do is we use a variable called as NAK send. So here in this case, yeah. we are using another variable as NAK send, that is negative acknowledgement send. So to know when we send an acknowledgement, we use a variable called acknowledgement needed, and both of these are initially initialized to false. Also, we also use a set of variables to mark the slots in the receive window uh, once the corresponding frame has arrived. So we know that in the received window, we can receive the frames out of order. So suppose if we are receiving, yeah, 1 second. Suppose we are receiving, let me start it, draw this diagram. Suppose we are receiving the frames 1, that is where we lost the frame 0, we have received the frame 1, we have even received frame 2, then 3 is lost, we have received frame 4, 5, 6 are lost, we have received frame 7. So these are the lost frames we are supposed to receive. So whatever frames are received, we need to mark it by using a set of variables. So we are using this marked slot is equal to false. So right now, initially when we are starting, all the slots will be false. For whichever frames we have received, we will mark it as true. Okay. So, and also if we receive a corrupted frame and a negative acknowledgement, so suppose if 0 has been corrupted or damaged, then in that case we need a negative acknowledgement to tell the receiver that we have not received the frame we have expected. And if the frame is not corrupted and the sequence number is in the window, what we do, we store the frame and mark the slot. So if suppose if we have not received the frame, once we receive the frame 1, we store it in the window, mark the slot as true, and if contiguous frames, that is from Rn, have been marked. So suppose if we have started from 0 and we are supposed to, we have a window of size 8, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the window, and if we have received all of these frames, that is the contiguous or continuous frames have been received, then we deliver the data from this to the network layer and we slide the window further to receive the next frame. So this can be seen by the diagram over here actually. Yeah, so before delivery, we are supposed to send the acknowledgement, we are supposed to receive the frame Rn over here 0. So once we have received the frame 0, it has moved to 3 over here and acknowledgement number sent 3. And this way, what it will do, it will acknowledgement number sent 3 means it is obviously expecting the frame 3. So here before delivery of data, so once it has received the frame 0, 1, 2 together, it will take these frames and deliver the data to the network layer, and it will slide the window, in this case the delivery of data in selective repeat ARQ. And with respect to this, you have you have actually 2 examples in the textbook which you can refer to understand the explanation of selective repeat ARQ. And with this we can conclude the protocols, that is the protocols of the data link layer. And now we will begin with our next topic. The next topic is actually multiple access protocols, but before we proceed to the multiple access protocol, we will study one more topic in this. Actually, this is an important VSAQ, which is piggybacking. So what is piggybacking? And we have already seen the term piggybacking while we started Go Back and ARQ, but once again, because it is very important, we will see what is piggybacking and how we will be using it in the protocols. So the 3 protocols that we have seen, stop and wait, go back, and selective repeat, um, we have seen it all as a unidirectional. That is, we are sending the frames and we are receiving the acknowledgement. Yes, you can say them as bidirectional, but the reason we are not saying it as bidirectional is we are not sending data on both. We are not sending and receiving data from both the sides. That is, here, if you notice in this diagram, data is being transferred from this sender. Suppose we can just name it. So we are sending from A and receiving at B, but from B also we are again sending the data. So the data frames that are flowing are in only one direction in the earlier 3 protocols. But here in real life, so suppose if you are taking 2 telephones, then the data is flowing from both the directions, right? So in real life, the data streams are normally flowing in both directions from node A to node B, and then again from node B to node A. So this means that the control information, data information is basically your data frames. And what is the control information? The control information is the acknowledgement. So the control information also needs to flow in both directions. So a technique is called piggybacking. That is, it is used to improve the efficiency of the bidirectional protocol. So this is actually very important even for Viva. So improve the efficiency of bidirectional protocol. And this is when a frame is carrying data from A to B, it can also carry control information about the arrived or lost frames from B. So basically, if a frame is carrying data from A to B, then the acknowledgement for the frames from B to A is also added in this frames from A to B. So let us just zoom in over here. Yes. So if this is the send window and receive window of both, and the network layer is delivering the data also and getting the data also. So here in this frame, the black part is the black and blue. This entire thing is the frame. Then we are adding the sequence number and also the acknowledgement number. Basically, acknowledgement number. Basically, what we are doing is the single frame contains both the data part and the acknowledgement or the negative acknowledgement part. So in this figure, note that each node has two windows. One is the send window and one is the receive window, and both of them also need to use a timer. And both of the sender and the receiver, actually both of them are together, sender and receiver. So it is sending the frames also and it is receiving the frames also. So just we will name it as the sender A and sender B, and simultaneously receiver A and receiver B. So they are involved in three things. First is the request, then the other is the arrival, and third is the timeout. So here the network layer needs to request the data link layer to send the frames, and also it needs to keep a track of the frames which are arriving. And also, if suppose the frames are lost or corrupted, then in that case it also has to keep a track of the timers whichever are expiring. So however, the arrival event over here is complicated. When a frame arrives, the site needs to handle the control information. So in this case, whenever a frame is arriving, the receiver over here is needs to check the norm frame and pass it to the network layer. It also needs to check whether all the frames that this side has sent, that is the network B has sent to the network A, have been received properly or whether they have been lost. So it has to check all the acknowledgement, and both of these concerns must be taken care of in one event, that is the arrival event. The request event uses only the send window at each side. So at the case in the case of request, so suppose the network B is saying that I need the frame 4 or frame 5, then in that case only the send window will come in play, and the arrival event needs to use both the windows. So let's just see this over here. So the event is request from the network layer. It will be both, the algorithm will be for both the sending and receiving, and the same will happen on the other side also. So an important point about this piggybacking technique is both sides must use the same algorithm, and this algorithm will be complicated because it needs to combine two arrival events. So we have the arrival of the data and we have the arrival of the control information. Both of them needs to be in only one, both of them needs to be combined into one. So that is the reason this will be a bit complicated, and we have only seen the unidirectional protocols. We have not seen bidirectional protocols because it will get difficult to explain. And now with this, we will end the topic of protocols. This is a very, very important topic for LAQ. and we may get either of in either of these protocols from the noiseless channel, that is the simplest protocol, and stop and wait protocol in 2 marks, because those are short, those can be considered as short answers. But in the case of noiseless noisy channels, actually we may get all the 3 protocols in LAQ. So please make sure that you try to study it in a good way, and you have to write the design, and you have to write the algorithms, and also the example of that protocol, that is the figure of the sender and receiver and how the frames are being lost or acknowledged. You can consider any one of the examples from any one of the protocols. uh, that is, I have shown you, I believe, one example for each of them. You can then take an example of your own also. Now we will just have a overview of the data link layer. So in the data link layer, the services are the packetizing, that is, we have to take the packets converted into frames. Then we have flow control and error control, and also the addressing mechanism. Now what about the media access control? So in the case of media access control or multiple access control, so this we are supposed to cover this part of the data link layer. So chapter 2 is basically entirely about the data link layer. We have seen the error detection and correction, and we have also seen the data link control and protocols. Now we will be seeing the multiple access problem. So for the multiple access problem, what is multiple access, and why do we need to study this? I'll just explain you briefly today, and we will cover the entire topic in the next lecture. So in the protocols that we have seen earlier, we assumed that there is a dedicated link or channel between the sender and the receiver. Now this assumption that we are considering may be true or it may not be true. So if we have a dedicated link when we connect the sender and the receiver, then we do not need any other protocols. We can simply send the data. But on the other hand, if we are using the cellular phones to connect to other cellular phones, then the channel or the transmission link may not be dedicated. Okay, so a person a few feet away from us will be using the same channel to talk to some other person. So we can consider the data link layer as 2 sub layers. So the data link layer is actually divided into 2 sub layers, which are given as follows. So the first layer sub layer is the data link control, and the second sub layer is the multiple access resolution. So let me just mention it over here. The first is data link control, and the next is multiple access resolution. So over here, we have seen the data link control part, and the lower sublayer is basically for resolving access to the shared media. Suppose the example can be given over here. So suppose if there is a party and many people have gathered together in a large room. Now what is the broadcast medium? It is air. Another example is, and it is the same air, that is everyone is talking to each other and there might be disturbance in the broadcast medium. Another example is a classroom, and there are lots of children answering a question given to them by the teacher. Then what will happen if the teacher needs to understand the answer of a single child or each child separately? Then they will be saying, give everyone a chance to speak, don't speak until you're spoken to. So there are many things that we can see to just handle a question from each child separately. So what is the solution for this kind of problem in the case of the network? So basically, whenever this kind of problem occurs in the case of network, we will see that we have to have some kind of protocols to access this kind of a problem. So for multi-pointer networks, many protocols have been devised to handle access to a shared link. So suppose if we have a shared link, then we have different kind of protocols to handle this problem, and they can actually be categorized in 3 different groups. So we will see that. So in LANs, Wi-Fi, satellite networks, and parties, if more than 2 users send at the same time, there will be a collision, and all collided packets are lost. So suppose if multiple people are talking at the same time, we are not able to understand the conversation of even a single person. That is, even though there are 50 messages that we are receiving, we won't be able to understand even a single message. So all the collided packets are lost, and that is the waste of a bandwidth. So that is the waste of the conversation, that is a waste of time, if we say in the case of the classroom. So ideally, this multiple access, the MAC protocol for a broadcast channel with the bit rate at BPS, that is bits per second, should satisfy. If only one node is sending, then the throughput is R, that is all the R bits are being utilized. When M nodes have the data to send, then the throughput is R by M. Basically, whenever we need to send, multiple nodes are sending, then what is the throughput? The throughput will be R by M, that is, it is divided between the M nodes. So the MAC protocol, medium access control, that is the medium access control, is responsible for this kind of transmission. Now suppose if there is a decentralized protocol, then there is no master, and for that it is simple and inexpensive to implement. So the multiple access protocols that we have, as I said, are of three types. And what are those? Or they are of three groups. And first one is the random access protocols. So we will study this part in our syllabus, which is Aloha, CSMA, CSMA. In Aloha, we have again two types, pure Aloha and slotted Aloha. And then we have CSMA, CSMA/CD, and CSMA/CM. So one is collision detection and the other is collision avoidance. So in our syllabus, we will be actually studying about the random access protocols. The other two protocols, we don't have it. The controlled access protocols, those are reservation, polling, and token passing. And the channelization protocols are FDMA, TDMA, and CDMA. So these two types will not be studying. We will just be focusing on this random access protocol, which are Aloha, CSMA, CSMA/CD, and CSMA/CA. So with this, today I'll conclude the class, and we will cover these protocols and conclude unit 2 by the next lecture, hopefully. Thank you.